All right, y'all already know we back here. I don't have Denzel with me today because I have a special guest.
Mm.
Now, yesterday I had the pleasure of going on the Olay and Friends show to give a rebuttal to everything that's happened this week, all of the controversy, all of the criticism, right? And I was joined by my man right here from Twitter. I follow this man for about 2 years. We've
Yeah.
never really interacted. Maybe we tweet every once in a while.
Yeah.
But yesterday, him and I aligned in a way, you know what I'm saying, about what I consider to be the Drake hate. It's to me personally, it feels like Drake hate. Like
Yeah.
I'm here for the battle.
It seems like way more than rap, which is
It's
what we wanted was rap, but now it's turned into character assassination, which is a part of rap. It's part of rap battles. Listen, nothing's off the table, but it's just a lot. People are doing a lot now.
people are doing a lot, and to me, it got away from rap before. It's like there was no win for him at all in
Yeah.
this.
Yeah, yeah. It was rigged
Um,
from the very beginning. Like when you, especially with who he's going against, I think with Meek, it was a lot easier because Meek, especially on the internet, a lot of L's, a lot of public L's, some of which he posts himself. You know what I mean?
yes.
And I think with Kendrick, he's so private and his music has been so much about him and his evolution as a man and all that, that the authenticity game versus the hit records game, you're never gonna win in that
It
battle.
was, and but my thing is that Drake kind of lost that himself.
Oh yeah, he did some things
Drake,
to himself for sure.
he did, but then there was also the way he chose to go at Kendrick. There were other things that he could have focused on. His
Yeah,
alignment with Kodak Black, his
yeah,
alignment with R. Kelly. He should have dug into those things a little bit more to unearth that dirt,
yeah,
underneath him, so that his foundation is like. Because if you're gonna stand on this cultural shit and you're aligned with Kodak Black, who is a sexual assault, right? He's been convicted of
yeah,
sexual assault, I believe. Am I right?
yep,
Convicted.
yep.
You propped up. You did a whole thing with R. Kelly.
Saying you
This
were
should
gonna
have
pull
been
your
way
music off
more.
Spotify if R. Kelly's
Saying
music
you
gets
went on a
pulled.
thing. You
Yeah,
you 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 dug in for him.
yeah,
This was something that you could have done, but
mhm.
you took shots at his character.
At
You
his
took
height.
shots at his children, his wife.
Yeah,
This might not have been the best play for him, but I want to do this, right? I
mhm.
want people to know who you are, where you're from.
I'm from Toronto. I'm a comedian. I'm a radio host. I host a morning show for the Black station in Toronto
Right,
called 98.7. And I've been doing YouTube since 2010, I believe.
right.
And yeah, man, I've been in this content game for a while. Drake actually is one of the reasons why I blew up because of, I don't know if you remember the shit people say trend that was going on back in the day. Or it was like
I
shit New
don't.
York says, shit
Yeah,
Detroit
yeah,
people say.
yeah.
So I did shit Toronto people say, shit Jamaican people say, and he saw it and posted it, and it just blew up from there. So
Right.
yeah, there was a
And
lot of fanfare from that.
now, being that you are from Toronto,
Yeah.
um, you had something to say about. First of all, let's get into the breaking news right now.
Mm.
What's going on in Toronto right now?
So yeah, there was a shooting outside of his house
There's a shooting
that
outside of his
happened,
house.
which is not irregular. It's happened there before. It's like once a year it happens, to be honest. But that area is not known for shootings. It's a very, very rich area, very posh area. A lot of white people. He's probably the only black guy on the block. And yeah, this comes at a weird time because Cash, who is the weekends manager
The
over at
weekend's
EXO,
manager. Right,
their house got shot up last week
right,
and a security guard was hit. And
right.
so it's like the same instance that's happened now within a week of each other in two different countries. So it's
Well,
like,
where is Cash's house at?
I think it's in LA. I'm pretty
It's
sure
in
it's in LA.
LA.
Yeah.
So Cash, the weekend's manager, his house gets shot up. His security guard gets shot, sent to the hospital. I
Yeah.
think he's all right. And last night in Toronto, around 2 a.m. in the morning,
Yeah.
there was a shooting outside of Drake's house. You're saying it's a very affluent area. But my
Very.
thing is this: are we saying this is Drake and the weekend beefing?
I'm not gonna say it. I don't want to put anything on anyone's jacket, but I mean, the optics look crazy. They look the optics look nuts. And the thing about EXO and OVO, they've constantly had a back and forth. They've constantly been friends, not friends, been friends, not friends. That's not unusual for us in Toronto to see. But in terms of violence between the two camps, I've never seen actual violence. So this
I
would
thought that they
be
were friends.
nah.
Now
it's
friends
not
fall
friendly.
out all the time.
Yeah.
But now you're talking about they banging at each other.
Well, this is the thing about what The Weeknd is doing by choosing that side, right? It aligns him with people who are trying to end Drake. And maybe he didn't know that they were trying to end him. Maybe he thought it was just gonna be a friendly fade, like Kendrick said. It was just gonna be
Right.
some words exchanged. But it's turned into, like we've said, a character assassination. So they're trying to literally end him right now. So I don't know if shit gets that serious where matters need to be brought into their own hands. But once again, I'm not gonna put it on anybody's jacket. I don't know what happened. Probably gotta wait for more details. I know somebody allegedly got hit last night.
Somebody did get hit outside of Drake's house last night.
So
and this we're talking about.
Happens.
I don't know if I could pull it up. I want to.
It also depends on who got hit, because I don't know who got hit. If it's not somebody from their camp, it might have just been something completely different.
How can somebody just be standing outside of Drake's house? You see this house? This is what I'm trying to pull up right now.
Yeah.
You don't just stand outside of Drake's house. Hold on a second.
He brings a lot of people over to the crib, though.
He does bring a lot of people.
Yeah, because he has like the second wing of the house where like they have their parties sometimes, and he has the basketball court where he brings a lot of the guys over and play ball all the time. So
they're playing ball at 2 a.m. Now I know he has problem sleeping, but 2 a.m. playing ball.
Listen, like we got spots out here that we used to go to that late night we get a DJ to come pull up and we're just playing sports and dominoes and smoking and shit. So you never know.
Yeah. What do you think the thoughts are in Drake's camp right now, just between Sunday and now? He has more dislikes on the Heart Part 6 than he has likes. I've never seen anybody go out their way to even press a dislike. I would just swipe. Like I may have seen maybe 10 or 13. I think those people are jerk-offs.
Yeah.
But he has, I think, 500,000 dislikes on the Heart Part 6.
I think he had to have seen this coming halfway through the battle. Like at the start, maybe there was a bit more optimism with what could happen with this battle. And I think one of the things why he was so brazen, because like you said, he mentioned the man's wife, mentioned his kids and stuff like that. And remember what happened last time he mentioned someone's wife. So the thought process with everyone was,
agreed.
He knows what happened last time. So if he's doing it this time, he must got something in the clip.
Right.
And he did have some things in the clip. I just think that he thought maybe because everything's already out there, it would be one of them 8 Mile moments where I've said everything, I've owned everything, nobody's gonna care. But he forgets that it's the way you say things in a rap battle that matters the most. It's not necessarily what you say. Some of the times it's how you say it.
It's how you say it.
Kendrick said that shit in a crazy way, like Not Like Us, Euphoria. He killed it. So I don't think he was anticipating that. And then halfway through the battle, I think he kind of realized, because you hear it in Family Matters, he's like, oh, Kendrick just said something. Somebody give him a Grammy right now. Because he's realizing no matter what Kendrick says, people are going to look at it as genius and gold.
I want to let y'all know, if y'all here on Instagram, you're wasting your time. The show is on YouTube. Go to my stories right now. Click the link. It's Tahoe_TV on YouTube. Click Tahoe TV on YouTube. We're here live with that dude, McFly from Toronto, who is giving us a lot of backstory on what's going on between the Weeknd camp, this beef with Drake, and what we're looking at to see, I would think, a change in his hierarchy. Do you think that this is really going to change how people are going to look at him going forward?
It's going to change how they look at him, but if he produces hits, it's really not going to matter. I've noticed that with people. The talent surpasses everything. Chris Brown did something where we saw hard evidence that those pictures were graphic when they dropped on the timeline.
Yeah.
He's still out here.
Right.
I think time, especially now that we're in this constant 24-hour news cycle, there's so much shit that happens. This is going to be an afterthought in a couple months, but when he drops, it's going to pick back up again, and everyone's going to start saying all the things again.
You're saying that when we compare him to Chris Brown, and we compare him to how Chris Brown has a long-lasting effect on music, but Chris Brown's assault on Rihanna has also followed him for over 10 years.
Exactly.
We're talking about his relationship with brands and money. Drake is money.
But
Drake
also,
is
Chris Brown, sorry to cut you off. Chris Brown has had repeated offenses.
he has had repeated offenses.
If it was just Rihanna, I really think Chris Brown would be back in everyone's good graces if he really showed true change and growth. By now, I think people would have forgiven him. Some people wouldn't have, but some more people would have forgiven him than the people that stand now and align with Chris Brown.
Well, bro,
with Drake, I think it might show that, and this is just the precarious part for him, is if he does change, Kendrick changed him.
That's
You
it.
see what I'm saying?
That's
anything
it.
he does moving forward that's anything different from what he normally does.
Even his timestamps. Even his timestamps. How do you go to timestamp back to timestamp Drake after Kendrick stole your timestamps?
Yeah, exactly. Now, and the next timestamp really has to address all that.
The next timestamp should really be, he should really be, it should be a introspective look at him, his reception, his disappointment, the things that he thought versus the things that he knows now.
And owning
it can't
the L.
be on some like, it can't be on
the L.
And he has to own it. You think he has to own this L?
He has to own the L. He has to own the L. Like he owned the Pusha one eventually. It took him a while, but he owned it. He's got to own it or people are gonna not take him seriously.
Bro, I was on this live with you last night and they were talking about Drake's culture, vulture movement, the way that he morphs into new styles and takes from the culture. I do not align with that.
Neither do I.
At all. And I heard you gave some interesting perspectives. Again, if you're on the IG, go to YouTube. We have that dude McFly from Toronto who's going to speak on these culture vulture allegations. Please let me know what you think about this.
Well, like it's little things, like especially like the whole narrative of the Forest Hill growing up in an affluent area with Jewish kids and all this stuff. That's 5 minutes from Little Jamaica. Like what we call Little Jamaica is this one section of Toronto, and that's literally 5 minutes from where he lives. Okay, so it's not far-fetched to believe that Drake did grow up in Black culture.
Right
now, when it comes to the whole culture vulture thing and stealing styles, how are we overlooking that these guys needed him just as much as he needed them? If we're going to talk about need, whenever you're collaborating with someone on a YouTube video or any of those types of things, you share audiences, you share reach because it's beneficial for the both of you. If it's somebody that has 100 subscribers and you have 42,000 subscribers, who's doing more for who?
Right.
You have a style that I like, sure. But look at my numbers. Nobody's going to even know your style exists without my numbers.
Right.
And so I think that every time he did something with an artist, it was mutually beneficial. Yes.
It was a mutually beneficial relationship.
Yeah. Yes, he did go over there and imitate a style. But why wouldn't he? If that's what's receptive to your audience, why would he not show his pen in that, yo, I'm versatile. I can get it in any pocket that I want and still dominate. Because how many times have we said you go on a track with Drake and it's Drake featuring Drake? Even if it's your style, he's going to find a way to elevate that. And it's only going to be to your benefit. So we've seen it with Migos. We've seen it with McConan. We've seen it with so many different artists that he has collaborated with over the years where it was mutually beneficial for both of them. Now, what that artist does afterwards should not be a reflection of Drake. And I think that's some of the times when an artist doesn't pan out the way people thought they would, especially after collaborating with Drake. Oh, he used them and abused them. It's not Drake's responsibility to carry these artists up. If he gives them the look, then they have to capitalize on that themselves. So I think that that's where that whole culture vulture thing, and a lot of it has to do with him being a Canadian. Because I guarantee you, if that nigga was from Brooklyn, if that nigga was from Zone 6 Atlanta, if he was from Memphis, the word culture vulture wouldn't even be used.
Well, I think, is it Canadian or is it the fact that he's half Jewish?
Both. Both. I mean, we when we talk about the whole white boy thing, what people are really saying is Jew. They don't
Oh
want to say
gosh.
it,
Right.
but that's what they're really saying, right?
Right.
And especially at a time right now where we know what's going on with Israel and Palestine, it's just a very loaded thing. And you combine that with the fact that I mean, he's been battling with this since the very beginning with
Hmm.
being the black Canadian guy, right?
Right. Well, a half
I've
white
been
Canadian guy.
listen, I've been told to my face from Americans that I'm not black because I'm Canadian.
Mm.
Like those are real thoughts that people have. And so with him coming over there, and at first, especially when we talk about Toronto artists, it was very hard for us to cross over. Very difficult. We're so close to New York, 45-minute plane ride. And it was still so difficult for our music to cross over. He got in the game. He's a guy that goes to Memphis every summer for 2-3 months, every
Hmm.
summer for his whole life. And
Hmm.
so he knows what that Black American culture is like. So he assimilated and eventually brought in his Toronto stuff down the line. It wasn't right away, probably 2-3 albums. I would say if you're reading this, it's too late, is when he really went full Toronto and everyone was like, wait, why is Drake talking like a Jamaican? Why is
Right.
he, all these
Right.
things.
Right. I think it was if you're reading it, it was too late, but it was also more life, big more life.
Yep. Yep.
More life where I was like, what is this accent?
Yeah.
Why is he's leaning into it? I'm used to him stepping into somebody's style on the track, but then going back to being Drake.
Yeah.
This was all Jamaican. This was all UK,
Yeah.
it felt like. And then y'all told me that this is kind of your culture in Toronto. I had no idea.
This is just us. This is just us. The dominant culture in Toronto is Jamaicans and Africans. So when you're talking slang, almost every and any slang word that you've ever heard come from Toronto is Jamaican influenced or African influenced. And that's what runs the culture here. So we have you run into an Asian guy that walk up to you, be like, yo, what guan? And
Yeah.
that's
No
normal.
way.
That's
No
very
way.
normal. White guys, Wagwan, Indian guys, it doesn't matter what race. This is just how we speak here. And I understand that it's a lot for people to take in, but if you look at the UK, we're like twin cities. It's the exact same shit over there. Their major dominant culture, Jamaicans and Africans. And so their slang is dominated by the same thing. And so that's why it was so easy, especially when you bring up More Life. That's when he had those UK collabs, like the song with Gigs and stuff like that,
Yeah.
because it just made sense. Like we're
Right.
so much alike. It just makes sense
Right.
to align that way.
Right.
And I think it took a while for him to gain that confidence that he could be himself and still make great music and it would still be well received.
Mhm.
That would not have happened if he went on Funk Flex with that Blackberry speaking in
Right.
Toronto. Like niggas would have been super confused.
Right.
Like you guys
Do you
would not
think-
have understood it.
Now it's crazy that you say this stuck to me when you said that about Black Americans saying that Canadians aren't Black.
Mhm.
Because it's my experience that we get people from other places that say, I'm not Black, I'm Canadian, or I'm not Black, I'm Jamaican. Or,
Yeah.
Well, I don't really hear Jamaicans say that often, but West Indians often say that. What are we missing in this conversation? I'm confused.
In America, I find like because here we're very, it's very normal to be like, yo, what's your background?
Yeah.
What's your background? And usually some people, if you just say, yo, where are you from? They'll say their parents' country. We won't say here. I'm not gonna say, I very rarely be like, I'm Canadian. I say I'm Jamaican.
Wow.
Even though I was born here, I say I'm Jamaican because our roots were so connected that we don't let that go. We have great pride in that. And
so you rarely say that you're Canadian. You say I'm Jamaican,
I'm
even though you live in Canada.
I say I'm Canadian to Americans because I know that's what you guys will understand. If I say I'm Jamaican here, people will understand that maybe I was born here, but my parents are Jamaican.
That's crazy.
Yeah, because it's a little different for you guys because a lot of American Black people have always been American.
Right.
You see what I'm saying? Like that is their background. So there is no, what are you like? I'm from here. This is where I'm from.
Let me ask you a question. Does this mean that most Canadians would move as Drake is moving when it comes to the assimilating when
Absolutely.
with styles in America?
Yeah, absolutely. Because we are so immersed in other people's cultures at all times. Like from we were little, we always had what is called multicultural fare. So like every culture in the school will bring their food, will bring their facts, will bring their language, all that. And for like a week, we learn about other people's shit for a whole week, right? Now, you bring that out to the playground. Obviously, when you're kids, you're like, oh, what's the bad words? Like, you learn all the bad words from everybody's culture. You know what certain cultures like, what they don't like, how they act, how they don't act. And so it's interesting to us. That is something we indulge in because it's just a talking point almost. Whereas I guess in America, it's not really because you guys are from there and have been from there for generations and generations. It's probably not so much a talking point. I'm not too sure. You let me know.
Yeah. Nah, it isn't. Not really. Well, we're American. We were here, and we don't really have that extra thing to say. Okay, well, I envy a lot of West Indians and a lot of Latinos or Hispanic people because they always able to talk about home.
Yeah.
Or and another experience that they've had.
Yeah.
I'm from Brooklyn, bro. That's it. That's the only experience that I have.
Exactly. Which is nothing. There's nothing wrong with that. It's just different ways of living, right? And with us, like Jamaicans came here in the 70s. So that's when Caravana started, which is the huge parade because they missed home and they wanted to bring home here. And so that's how we got Caravana. And a lot of us here are first generation, second generation at most.
Right.
You know what I mean? So majority of us, unless
wait, is Toronto newly black like in the last 50 years? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah.
So what was it before
in terms of okay, so I'll say this. There were tons of black people here in Canada. The majority of them live in Nova Scotia.
Okay.
So Nova Scotia is like black hub. And that's where black people invented hockey. And so the whole Canadian sport of hockey that is like white dominated now, that was black people were the ones that revolutionized that.
Right. Okay.
And so there was definitely black people here. We've had, obviously, Harriet Tubman escaped here and brought slaves here to free them. So, and we've had our own slavery here as well in Canada. We have a history of slavery. And so those things are not unique to us, but in Toronto specifically, and I want to let people know this is specific to Toronto only. Outside of Toronto, none of it exists. Like, there are black people, but not in the numbers, the droves. They're not dominating culture anywhere outside of Toronto. Toronto is the only place in Canada that's like Toronto. There's no other place like it. So the majority of black population live in this city.
So why isn't Toronto West Coasting Drake? Why does Kendrick have this support from the West Coast? And if you're all saying, yo, we align with how Drake moves, like we understand it. We don't think it's like that because that's just our culture here to kind of do that, especially with our experience in America.
Yeah.
That's how we have to move to be accepted. Y'all wouldn't have accepted us no other way. And why doesn't Toronto ride for the boy?
Okay, well, there's a number of reasons, right? First of all, pedophilia accusations are kind of crazy to back. You know,
and it's so funny with these pedo allegations that I've seen a lot of statements from the girls and stuff like that. Yeah. I don't even want to retweet it because I don't want people to think
like I'm trying to help him
escape pedophilia. So it's like you can't do anything.
You know what I'm saying? You're in a tough spot because you have these women that are coming out saying, listen, nothing like what you guys are saying is what happened. But I'm not going to be the one to champion that.
I'm not running that on my page.
Y'all say that. You do what you got to do. I'm not going to champion that and then look crazy.
It's a horrible place to be.
It's a
when
horrible
it comes
spot.
to those things, bro.
Exactly. So it's that. It's an artist from here yesterday, Sean Leon. Very dope artist. He's worked with Kanye. He's been in the studio with Jay-Z. He's worked on songs with Bieber. He's a really dope artist. And he yesterday went on a little rant about why Drake's not getting the support from here because he didn't show the support to niggas who aren't hood niggas in the city. Because Drake tends to lean towards the hood niggas in the city, right? For obvious reasons. But with that,
helps his cred because he needs that cred.
I don't know if I don't think he needs it here. He doesn't need it here because the guys he moves with are heavy enough. But the the guys he wants to champion, they're talented. Don't get me wrong, but I think he also realizes the troubles he had to face early on coming into the game and not being the street guy, that he'd rather prop up a street guy that can come in and just kill shit right away.
Right.
Right. But with that, then you have the politics that come with that. You support one block, the other block thinks you're the ops now, and shit will turn sticky. So it's
in
like,
Toronto,
oh my God, yes.
there's violence in Canada.
Yeah, y'all niggas have no idea, bro.
Bro.
People are talking about how hot the summer is gonna be right now. Like right now, people are like, it's gonna be one of those
does Drake
summers.
bang a set?
No, I don't think he bangs a set. Definitely not. But the guys he rolls with are no joke. Like OVO reps up guys are not the people keep making these jokes, and us in Toronto are like, okay, sure.
So we don't know Drake we don't know who Drake is now. We don't know who real beard Drake is. When he says I crept down a block, made a right, spun a light, this is real. You saying that this is real, that he might really be thinking about doing something.
I'm saying he's capable of doing it. I don't know if he's done it, but I'm saying he's very capable, and so are all of the people that he rolls with. Very capable.
Now I'm gonna go and say
what happened with Pusha when Pusha came here? Did you see that?
What happened to Pusha?
He got jumped.
Pusha got jumped in Toronto?
Mid-show.
Where is the footage?
The footage is online. Go look it up.
Wait up. So Pusha got jumped mid-show.
Yeah.
By Drake, by people who wanted to rep for Drake.
Yeah.
People who support Drake. Yeah. This is the real thing.
This is a
now,
real
I'm going to tell y'all this. I know somebody right now, me personally, that I grew up with. Be careful with my wording here. That is on, I want to say on the run because of dealings with the camp.
Mm-hmm.
And he is very well taken care of.
Mm-hmm.
So this is a real thing.
This is a real
thing. And I keep trying to tell people this. If Drake came here,
I'm not saying that was OVO or reps up.
I'm not saying it was right. We're not saying none of that. I'm just saying things happen.
It could be just people who are radical about Drake that took it to that level.
Right.
Because first they were throwing drinks at him, and then they just hopped over the banisters, and it was just an all-out brawl. And it was
this is my thing is like, yo, if you're around, yo, I don't care if you the half Jewish kid from Canada, you're around shit every single day, and a lot way more than the average person on Twitter is around that life.
Yep.
Bro, I'm around this every day. I don't care if I'm half Jewish. I don't care if I'm from Canadian. Yeah. Every single day is up for me. Every single where I go, I gotta have certain community around me to make sure I move a certain way. Yeah. Things are gonna go down. After a minute, I'm gonna get used to that. I'm gonna plan for that. I'm actually gonna start being the aggressor in some type of instances so that this don't keep happening to me.
And especially when you look at the early days of his career, it's like he was legit being bullied, not only online.
Every day. He's being bullied every day.
Yeah, like even that story of T.I.'s friend peeing on his leg.
Yes.
That shit would never happen today. Never happen today. It would be up.
Super up.
It would be up if that shit happened today. You wouldn't even get that close.
I honestly don't think that people understand. I think that people are still going by No Beard Dre.
Yeah.
I mean, Drake and the awkwardness. And I don't think people understand what life does. You are a sum of your experiences.
Yeah.
You are a sum of your experiences. Now, I'm not saying that he's Killer McGilla Gorilla, like whatever. Yeah. But I'm saying that y'all would not stand a chance.
People can say what they want online, but in person, I want to see you talk that stuff.
Well, I don't think nobody's gonna. I think people are gonna talk it to Drake because they don't realize who he got over here. Yeah, they're still gonna look at him, but I'm pretty sure a lot of people have tried and a lot of people have been punished.
They realize when they see him in person, especially when you see that one black nigga you got with him, the bald one, who's constantly listening. That guy's veins are just always out. He's always just.
He's just waiting. Some dudes live for that.
He's ready.
Do you think?
And he's got fuck you money now. It's like, what did he really do?
What did he do wrong
in this battle?
What did he do wrong?
I wish he didn't do the meme stuff on Insta story.
You wish he didn't turn into Twitter fingers.
Yeah, I wish he just kept it bars. I think that would have helped. I don't think it would have won him the thing, but I think it would have helped. It was funny, the shit he was posting, but I mean, when the other person isn't posting anything but songs, it
Right.
looks kind of crazy, right?
Right.
It was easy for them to say he's spiraling and all those other things. I think also with the heart, part 6, um, I admired that he defended and answered to some of the accusations,
Yeah.
right? Because I think that's important in the rap battle. Is like
Yeah.
someone says some crazy shit about you,
Yeah.
you got to kind of explain it, right?
Yeah.
And I didn't want to see any Twitter notes like that Blackface moment where
Right.
he where he had to write in notes on Insta
Nuts.
story about, yo,
Nuts.
this is
Yeah.
what actually happened. Like, put it in the
And
music, you know
nobody
what I mean?
cared.
And
To
nobody
this day,
cared.
nobody cared.
Exactly. So the fact that he put it in the music this time, I admired that. I just wish
Hold
it
on.
was.
Can you put a pin in this? Put a pin in this right now. I know I only have you for about 10 more minutes, and I want to make sure that we get everything that we can out. You explained the blackface moment yesterday better than I've heard it before. Can you please, again, for this audience, explain what was happening with him and that whole blackface moment?
Yeah, well, what he says is that him and another black actor, I can't remember what the guy's name is, but I've seen him before with YouTube videos they've done together, and they were having trouble landing auditions. Right now, people want to go harp on the Degrassi thing. That's one show. You've never seen Drake in anything else.
Right.
So, and you think he's not auditioned for other things? He's auditioned for plenty of stuff, right? And so it's a well-known thing here. You get a black role. My first 4 roles when I got into the acting world here, I was inmate 1, inmate 2, suspect, witness to a murder. Those were my first 4 roles, right? Canada is very covertly racist. And so with that, they decided to do something what they felt was artistic, which in hindsight, horrible. But the whole blackface thing, right? Coupled with the merch that he's wearing. The merch that he's wearing is from a well-known designer called Two Black Guys that were out here. They're basically putting a spin on all the racist Jim Crow imagery that we were subjected to as black people back in the day and spinning it to a more positive thing. They also had, like, I believe they were doing like a Negro League merch line. They recently just did something with the NHL for the last All-Star weekend. And so it was looked at as a positive thing. And so he's wearing one of those shirts, but that coupled with the blackface and no context looks absolutely insane. So I completely understood how everyone reacted to it. And like I said, poorly executed, probably not the best thing to do, but it wasn't him making a mockery of black people, which everyone kind of spun it to.
Yeah.
And to him seriously doing blackface as a black person.
Yeah.
And I noticed they don't have the same energy for other artists. Beyonce has done blackface. You can Google it, right? And that was for artistic purposes, and everybody understood that. So it's like it's a pick and choose thing, right? And which I noticed with this battle, I've noticed with Drake over the extent of his career. People pick and choose when things are a joke or when things are art or when things are a message to their convenience. If it allows them to discredit him, then no, it couldn't have been that. I don't care about context. Context doesn't matter. I don't care. It's just like the whole Millie Bobby Brown thing. Context doesn't matter.
Right.
Everybody just cares about what it looks like and who she is, how old he is, and how old she was. Once again, not something I would do, not something I'm like.
Do you think that people who are biracial, especially when we're not even Hispanic, let's just say biracial, do you think that their behavior can be looked at as different than the person who is wholly black and has 2 black parents? Because Beyonce has 2 black parents.
Yeah.
Drake has a dad from America. Matter of fact, a black dad. Forget where he's from. And
black dad from America, an uncle that created the slap bass.
But let's be clear, he does have a Jewish mom.
Yeah.
And
very Jewish mom.
You don't. I'm not saying you don't. In your just the way that you gather this information, do you think that it could be looked at differently when Beyonce does it versus Drake doesn't, and understand it, even if he's trying to speak on things happening to him as how he identifies as a black man?
I don't think it should be, personally, because he's, like you said, he's speaking on it from a black man, from a black perspective. If he's speaking on it from his whiteness, then that's a completely different story. You know what I mean? And that's a completely different angle on the blackface, if that's what we're talking about.
Yeah.
But him as a black man struggled to get acting jobs because they saw him as a black man, not as a biracial man.
Right.
White people don't see the difference or know the difference.
Right.
They see black, and that's all they see. So for people, and I understand, like, the whole Jewish connotation of it doesn't help. You know what I mean?
Right.
But at the end of the day, regardless of what y'all want to say, he's a black man. He was a black man before this battle, and he's a black man after this battle. I think this battle has skewed people's perception because he, like they said, acts in whiteness in terms of how he goes about indulging in black culture throughout his career. They said he's acting in whiteness. So I completely understand that argument. But at the end of the day, like I said, he's a black man. And he's talked about his resentment with the feeling that people don't view him that way. And that when they're talking about black excellence, they never mention him. Right. And I can see him having some contempt for doing what he feels is great work. And that if it was any other, maybe, I guess, full black person or even a black American, that he would be looked at differently. And he's not.
Do you think he has a right to feel resentment towards the black culture, the black American culture?
A right? I wouldn't say a right, but I wouldn't blame him for feeling resentment. You know what I mean? I definitely wouldn't blame him if he does feel resentment. Because, like I said, he doesn't get acknowledged in those conversations. He's looked at as other, and I feel like that has a lot to do with him being Canadian more than it even has to be with him being Jewish. Because I think if he was black and Jewish, but from a black neighborhood in America, the Jewish part wouldn't even matter to a lot of people. It's where his roots are from. The fact that he's from Canada, and like you said, you're like, there's violence in Canada. Yeah, black people up there, like from someone that's been on AAU teams growing up playing ball, and going to Michigan, going to Ohio, going to Vegas, going to all of these places in the States to play ball. I was asked every single one of these, yo, you speak French, right? You live in an igloo up there. It snows every day up there, doesn't it? And it's just like a lot of things that people just are not educated on, that they're just projecting.
Right. All right. I have 5 minutes with you left. I feel bad for him. You know, he's definitely the number one artist in my category, in my playlist. We were speaking about things that he did wrong here in this battle. Me personally, if I'm going to just give my own, I would say he should have rapped more. He was not prepared more. I don't think that he took this battle as seriously as Kendrick took it. And I think by the time he realized how serious it was almost over.
Yeah.
That was when he did the Family Matters video. And it was a matter of time, literally half an hour before the final strike, or the deadly strike, the one that I think really was a mortal wound. With Meet the Grams, it started to be bleak for him.
Well, and he trusts those around him maybe too much.
Do you think so?
How did he know that song? How did Kendrick know that song was coming out?
The whole Family Matters. So we talking about Meet the Grams. This was I know about Family Matters.
Yeah.
This is me breaking down, you thinking Family Matters is the way to go about this song. Let me show you how to go about this angle.
Yeah.
Dude, his response in the Hard Part 6, I gave you that information.
Yeah.
Do you think that he gave them that information?
I do think he gave them that information, but I don't think he played it correctly. Like, there should be video of him planting that information. You know what I mean? I feel like if you accompany that with visuals of planting the information, then Kendrick looks really dumb.
If he's like this and he's like sliding it to somebody, like
if he sets up the whole play and you see it, and then he talks to that little informant guy in the video and gives him the bag and all that shit, then it looks like, whoa, this guy played master chess. But the fact that he's saying it without showing it leaves an inch of doubt in people's minds to be like, He saw it on Twitter. He's just taking what Twitter people are saying and running with it.
Yeah.
Right.
So
And
they
there's
were
no way to
hoes.
really prove it.
We doing all of this, talking about Drake, talking about, right? We have to say Kendrick played a masterful performance.
Amazing. Top to
Masterful
bottom,
performance.
did not miss a step.
I just
Did
got off
not
the
miss
phone
a
with
step.
DJ Head. DJ Head tells me how exhausted he is from this situation. But we got to remember, this played out in what I believe is 5 days for Kendrick.
Yeah.
We're talking about 4 amazing moments in 5 days.
Yeah.
Something I have never seen in hip hop, in any hip hop beef.
This is the best hip hop beef and battle in hip hop history. Easily.
In hip hop history, right?
Easily.
Why didn't Drake take that last week so seriously? He's literally baiting him with Tailor Made. We're waiting for you.
Yeah.
And the energy, if he would have kept that energy that he had in Tailor Made, this would be completely different.
Yeah.
The ending of this would be completely different.
I mean, and Kendrick may not be done. In that song, he said, I got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 plus 5. Like that sounds like he has a Drake diss album.
Yeah.
That is ready in case Drake wants to keep going. He's like, I got more.
Drake does not want to keep going. I don't want him to keep going.
I don't want him to keep going because I feel like Kendrick's got more angles. I don't think Kendrick doesn't strike me as the redundant type. You know what I mean? Like there's a couple of things he's repeated in this battle, but only once. You know what I mean? And it seems like every song is going to be a different angle, a different style, which is
a different sound.
I think that's what impressed me the most with Kendrick is he approached every track so differently, and at the same time took a page out of Drake's book with creating a hit like Not Like Us.
Well, he did this a lot of different ways. Euphoria, it was the most complex out of all of these.
Yeah,
even if you compare it to Meet the Grams, Euphoria was so heavy. It's hard for Drake to get to that song. Like it's just a lot going on. Then he baits him with 616, which is his answer to Tailor Made, but it's also in a Drake type of play. Like it's very soulful, but it's very like down to it. It's artistic a little bit.
He's like, I can do what you do.
Then he waits. Now he's just watching the board.
Yeah,
I've seen this in Washington Square Park while they sit there and they play chess. And sometimes the guys just sitting there looking. They're not moving. Kendrick is watching the board. When Drake makes a move, got you. I was expecting that. Hits him with Meet the Grams. Checkmate.
Yep.
At Not Like Us, which I can't get out of my head. They not like us.
Good.
They not like us. They not like it's killing me. Let's see some of these comments. I have a minute left. Anybody have anything that they want to say to that dude McFly? Hopefully we can have you back on here with this shooting thing. Do you think this gets more violent?
I hope not. For the sake of Toronto and our summer, which we have only like 3-4 months of, I really hope not.
Tahoe so emotional about Drake passing. He's starting to go live on YouTube. Yo, y'all are killing me. Yo, Marlon, thank you so much, my brother, for joining me here on my platform. Yes, I have started to do a little bit more live stuff. Shut your mouths. Okay. I'm trying to feed. I have a lot of kids, man. My fiance has 2 girls. I got 3 kids. Like my daughter needs a flight to go see her mother this weekend. Yo, help me out here. All right. Marlon, thank you so much for being here. Thanks will return later as this shit unfolds with more of this Toronto shooting. Peace. Later, yo, bro. Thanks, bro. I appreciate you, my nigga. For real.
Yeah, no doubt, bro.
Honestly, this